afterwards through our other channels. Okay, sorry about that. So, good morning everyone. As we navigate daily life during this crisis, it is important that we continue to follow the public health guidelines and don't become complacent. As we've been hearing over the past 24 hours, the reproduction rate of this virus has been brought down. That means the number of people being infected by another person has reduced. It also means that the sacrifices you are making is having an impact on slowing the virus. But we still aren't there yet. We must keep it up until the Chief Medical Officer and the National Public Health Emergency Team tell us what we need to do next. We need to keep going in order to protect ourselves, our friends, our families and our community. This is a difficult time for everyone, so it is important to take time away from thinking about the virus and look after your well-being and the well-being of those around you. And remember that support is available if you need it. It can be hard to ask for help, especially if you're used to being independent. But help is there for everyone, especially those who are cocooning at this time. By cocooning, you're helping yourself and you're helping those around you. So you shouldn't hesitate to ask for a little bit of help if you need it. We are all in this together. While we need to stay apart, we can still look after each other, and we encourage people to look for creative ways to stay in touch with the people in your lives. As always, I cannot stress enough the vital public health advice, the most effective personal actions that we can continue to take to slow the spread of Covid-19. That's wash your hands regularly and thoroughly, use good cough and sneeze etiquette, observe social distancing measures, and stay at home. So business, the temporary wage subsidy scheme. So as you know, a key element in our economic response, the temporary wage subsidy scheme has been a landmark intervention introduced to support business and employees at this time of national emergency due to the Covid-19 pandemic. 45,150 employers are now registered with Revenue for the temporary wage subsidy scheme. The cumulative value of payments made under the scheme is now $267 million. Further refunds will be generated by Revenue today, which will be in the bank accounts of the majority of respective employers on Monday, the 20th of April. As you know, further changes were announced on Wednesday. So for employees earning less than €412 per week, the subsidy will be increased from 70% to 85% of their previous net weekly income. For employees earning between €412 and €500 per week, the subsidy will be €350 per week. Stronger employee retention incentives have also been put in place. The wage subsidy will also now be available to support employees where the pre-Covid salary was greater than €76,000 and their post-Covid salary has fallen below €76,000, and that's subject to certain tiered arrangements and tapering. Full information on all of the new arrangements are on the Revenue Commissioner's website at revenue.ie. Agri-sector. As part of the response to the impact that Covid-19 is having on Irish farm incomes, payments for the Green Low Carbon Agri-Environmental Scheme, GLAS, will commence a month ahead of schedule. Bringing forward this payment should significantly improve cash flow on Irish farms in these challenging times. The GLAS scheme incentivises farmers to promote biodiversity, protect water quality, and also to combat climate change on their farms. Over €26 million in GLAS balancing payments will start issuing to 42,300 farmers who are participating in the scheme and will reach bank accounts early next week. Screen Ireland funding. We recognise the serious impact that COVID-19 pandemic is also having on our audiovisual industry, as it continues to create unprecedented levels of disruption across the Irish national and international creative sector. Building on a number of support measures, an additional €4 million in funding was announced yesterday to support production companies and creative talent in developing a strong slate of quality projects so that the industry can emerge from the current situation in a position to immediately begin producing work. The funding will be assigned to support production companies, screenwriters, directors, animators and others across feature film, TV and animation. And further information on these supports can be found on gov.ie. In relation to employees, the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection has become aware of a bogus email in circulation which is seeking a refund of unemployment payments made to customers to a nominated bank account. These emails generally issue from a Gmail or a Hotmail email address. The Department has asked us to warn you categorically that it does not use Gmail or Hotmail addresses when issuing notifications to customers. These incidents are treated with the utmost seriousness and the Gardaí have been notified. Should a person receive such an email and be in any doubt as to its authenticity, please contact the Department at 01 704 3082. Community Fora. We want to take the time to remind anyone who needs support at this time that the Community Call Fora, run by local authorities around the country, can provide a much-needed lifeline. They are continuing to help provide support to people all over the country. They are run by the local authorities, and yesterday they received over 1,000 calls nationally. They made over 500 follow-up calls to people who have contacted them. Nationally, since the 31st of March, the Community Call Fora have received over 14,600 calls and have made 7,400 follow-up calls. You could find your local helpline number on gov.ie. If you need help, if you know someone who needs help, or if you want to volunteer to give help, please contact your local forum. If someone needs information, assurance, or they just want to talk to someone, they can call Alone's national phone line at 0818 222 0245. Remember, at this time, Alone is there for anyone experiencing difficulties with physical or mental health, with finance, loneliness and other challenges. Library Online. Additional resources were announced several weeks ago to the Library Online service. It was hoped that these additional resources would allow people to continue to engage with their local library service online while they remain closed to limit the spread of the virus. We are really pleased to see there's been a dramatic increase in the usage of library online services in recent weeks. There's been a 106% increase in e-book loans and a 66% increase in e-audio book loans since the beginning of March. In addition, there has been over 300% increase in new library users since the week commencing March the 1st to the end of March. It's heartening to know that people are taking advantage of community services that remain available to support them at this difficult time. And reading is a great way not only to entertain ourselves during this crisis, but also to look after our mental health. Solace supports. The further education and training sector is doing all it can to help frontline staff, learners and employers throughout the Covid-19 crisis. Education and training boards around the country are looking at where there are urgent skills gaps as a result of Covid-19 and providing vital online training in areas such as infection prevention and control. As I have mentioned previously, Solace has also made its e-college platform available free of charge, meaning people doing a further education training course who would like to take advantage of this time to enhance their learning, and those who have become recently unemployed can upskill in a range of digital skills. Transport. In response to the Covid-19 crisis, driver licences and learner permits due to expire before the 30th of June 2020 will now be valid for a further 4 months. The same extensions apply to certificates of competency received on passing a driving test, driver theory test certificates, motorcycle initial basic training certificates, and to national car tests and the commercial vehicle roadworthiness tests. This will ensure that people will not lose out due to the temporary closure of the Road Safety Authority facilities, and will in particular help to keep vital health and supply chain workers on our roads. Educational programming. We know it's an ongoing challenge for parents with children to keep a focus on education and learning during this necessary schools closure. TG Ceathair are announcing a new education initiative to further support the efforts teachers and families are making across the country. From next Monday, April the 20th, TG Cahir will be airing their new programme, Cúla Cahir ar Scoil, which will cater for primary school children who attend Gael Scoilina and Gaeltacht schools. The half-hour programme will be broadcast on weekday mornings from Connemara Gaeltacht. It will be presented by primary school teachers with contributions from teachers and facilitators from other communities and Gaeltacht regions, incorporating a range of dialects. The programme will have a weekly theme with lessons and learning drawn from the primary school curriculum. Core curriculum subjects such as Irish, mathematics, history and geography will be included, and there will be an emphasis on creativity, the arts, oral traditions and health and well-being. There will also be a level of interactivity, with children watching being invited to participate at home and asked to send their pictures or videos of their work to the programme. This resource will also be available online, coolacahir.com, and on YouTube, Cúla Cahir. As you know, there are also educational supports available through RTE, as I mentioned previously, and RTE launched their homeschool hub last month. Short curriculum-based lessons are aired on RTE2 and RTE Player, with project work and activities available on rte.ie/learn. The childcare sector. The wage subsidy childcare scheme will provide funding towards a portion of staff wages and services overhead costs to the early learning and care and school-age childcare sector. This scheme is aimed at ensuring the sector is in a position to reopen after this crisis. These measures should also provide parents with reassurance that they are not required to pay fees during this Covid-19 crisis, and confirming that they will maintain those places for their children in childcare arrangements. In addition, it will retain vital educators in the sector. International. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has assisted over 5,000 Irish citizens to return to Ireland in the past month through both commercial flights and repatriation flights. Over the Easter weekend, the Department assisted citizens returning from Vietnam and Cambodia, New Zealand, Nigeria and South Africa. We are continuing to provide consular advice and assistance to over 1,000 citizens who have indicated an interest in returning to Ireland from abroad. The consular teams are working closely with 86 embassies and consulates to assist these citizens and to notify them of remaining commercial options and repatriation flights, including flights arranged by our EU partners and the UK. Irish citizens who are abroad and have concerns about COVID-19 related measures can contact the Department of Foreign Affairs on the country code 353 1613 1733 or on web chat at dfa.ie. Support for the international response to COVID-19. The Taoiseach announced yesterday Ireland made an additional €1 million available for the World Health Organisation's programme of assistance to combat COVID-19 in Ethiopia, building on our long-term support for the healthcare system in that country. This brings to €11.5 million Ireland's support for UN COVID-19 Global Humanitarian Response Plan. And then some other issues and concerns. P&O ferries. It is understood that a dispute has arisen between the owners of Liverpool Port, Peel Ports and P&O ferries, and this has resulted in a P&O ferry being prevented from sailing from Liverpool to Dublin yesterday. While this is primarily a contractual matter, any protracted dispute would have implications for the supply chain in Ireland. The Department of Transport, Tourism and Sport is engaging actively with P&O and Dublin Port Company to resolve the issues. P&O ferries account for less than 20% of the freight between Ireland and the UK. More generally, there are a number of companies and a variety of shipping service operators operating between Ireland and the UK, and it is understood that our supply chains won't be materially impacted. Protecting people in emergency accommodation. As part of the response to COVID-19, Government is working closely with the Dublin Regional Homeless Executive, local authorities and the Health Service Executive to ensure the necessary arrangements are in place to protect individuals and their families accessing emergency accommodation. In Dublin, 500 new beds have been introduced to facilitate greater social distancing for individuals in homeless accommodation. In addition to these 500 beds, the Dublin Regional Homeless Executive has additional facilities to allow for self-isolation of suspected and confirmed cases of Covid-19 in emergency accommodation in the Dublin region. On a national level, local authorities are also working to put in place additional accommodation to allow for the isolation of confirmed or suspected cases of Covid-19, and have also secured additional space to support the appropriate levels of social distancing in emergency accommodation. Funerals and the loss of a loved one at this time. I have spoken before about the new temporary restrictions around how funerals are conducted because of Covid-19 and how difficult this is for people, especially here in Ireland, where funerals are such an important part of the grieving process. In order to try and provide some support for people, we have produced a guide for the bereaved during the pandemic, and the guide is available on gov.ie. It provides clear advice for bereaved families on what to expect as they make their funeral arrangements. People dealing with loss during this period will need the same emotional support that they would need in normal times, perhaps even more so, and everyone should be encouraged to help one another with this. And there are various other resources available on the grieving process on gov.ie. Finally, just to say thank you for all you're doing. It is working. So this weekend, continue to stay at home unless it's for an essential journey or food or medical supplies or to assist someone who is cocooning. And enjoy this good weather by exercising within 2 kilometres of your house. Thanks.